I have 2 months left to make my first commercial game and I should be halfway done by now. The problem is I am not sure I am. So in this devlog I am going to show you everything I have done during the first 2 months of developing my first commercial game, Core and Scrap Roguelite, where the game started, how much it has been changed, and where I am actually right now, all in this video. And before we start, the deadline for this project is October 30, which means I have already spent half my development time. So let's see how far I am actually. Let's start with a quick recap of the first month because there was actually a big twist in the development. When I started this project, the game was completely different from what you are seeing now. My main vehicle was then and was supposed to be tanks. Tanks. I started with simple gray cubes and basic gameplay, which was actually the right decision because I don't want to spend time making the game look good before I even know if the core gameplay was going to work. But after spending a lot of time on tank control, I started noticing some problems. The control didn't feel the way I wanted to my game, and there were also some designing problems and some skill issue. So I made one decision. I removed tanks and instead I decided to make the game about different type of vehicles including in cars of different types like sedan, SUV, sports car, and etc. But then I had another problem. No normal car control were working, but they were not really fun to play. And because this is a roguelike, the movement need to be enjoyable and feel good because you are going to be driving around fighting enemy and collecting currency to upgrade your cars and your weapon and doing that over and over again, so it must be enjoyable. So I decided to add drifting, and honestly this changed the feeling of the game 180-degree. Now you can actually enjoy the control. This is what I think, but I think this is far better than without drifting, and this was the point where the game actually feel like a game. Then come month 2, and after spending most of the first month figuring out the core gameplay and changing the vehicle, I finally felt comfortable enough to start working on the visual because from the beginning, as many developers, I started with greybox, simple cubes, simple walls and cubes for enemy, cubes for obstacles, and everything was just cube. So it was the right time to replace the cubes with my real game assets to bring the game in the life and to see the art style and the environment of my game. And when I was planning this game, I had the theme in my mind, and the theme is industrial. But I don't want the entire game to look like one giant repetitive level. The game will have different zone, and I want each zone to be different from the previous one. So the first zone is going to have this yellow, black and white industrial style, the basics. And in the coming zone I have Skyfire zone, forest zone, and hopefully even more theme I will add if I have some time. And one of the thing I really wanted in my game is smoke and glow coming from the bottom of the scene because everything is high rise, so I have to do something to cover the bottom area. So this is the best solution I found. I tried many different way to create this effect, and eventually I ended up using Unity particle system for the smoke. And at the bottom there is a giant plane with glowing material I created using shader graph. It is not perfect, but honestly, I think it looks pretty nice. And after creating the environment of the game, the next step was to be model enemies to my game, and I honestly have no much experience in the animation, so I want simple but enjoyable animate so the player feel it's literally an animate. So I have designed this as simple because it is as from the isometric view, so it will work, and I don't want to spend too much time on animation. So these are the two enemies I model in Blender, and more I will add later. And I am little not little, I'm too much worried right now about my deadline because my current goal is to release a playable demo at the end of August, but I already know today is 25 August. 25 August. And this was the deadline I gave myself earlier to build a demo, but obviously things don't go as we planned, especially in game development field. But I am still going to work hard. I still have almost 5 to 6 days, but I think I will release the demo in early September. So after 2 months of development, this is where the game currently stand. I started with a complete grip prototype build, and thanks then it and deadline is really adding too much in my depression. I still have a lot of work left to do, and that's the scary part because I have only 2 months left and I still have to add music, SFX, VFX, more enemies, some optimization, police, add juice in my game. Too much work. So that's it for this video. And if you have any idea about any vehicle, enemy, weapon, anything related to this game, comment down. I will obviously read because how much views I how much views I get and how much comment I got in my videos. So it will not take me too much time to read. And if you are interested to play the demo, can you can contact me on Discord, and the link will be in description. So that's it for this devlog. 2 months are done, and 2 months and the next 2 months are going to be very hard. I will see you in the next devlog. Until then, keep coding and keep killing the bugs.